Red bikes are Michelin Young Guns, the black bikes are TDG Cup runners over 25 years of age. Well, the lights have gone out. Here we go. We get the first lap underway. Race one here at Snetterton for this Triumph Triple Challenge Series. Big question now, who will get out of that first corner? Well, that looks to me like that could be number 20, Jamie Devine, and that is Emmett O'Grady, the Irish lad who broke his collarbone, you'll remember, at Brands Hatch. And he's there in second place, carrying our onboard camera. So the man, and that's Ralph Turco. Well, you can recognise Ralph from a long distance with those distinctive fluorescent Valentino Rossi leathers on. And Ralph was new father, baby daughter now arrived. But we're on board with Emmett O'Grady, chasing down the young man from Broughton in Chester. Well, Flintshire to be precise. Jamie Devine. Well, you remember Jamie at the opening round of Brands Hatch had that incredible high side save. He had a bit of an awful day at Thruxton where he DNF'd both races, but saying that, he's done pretty well. So as they make their way through, there's the 56 bike. Second in the championship to Devine, young Alex Olsen, the 16-year-old, racing under the Bob Farnham banner, and Bob, of course, well known in the paddock as a tuning guru, is the best way to describe Bob. Has been a very nice man as well. They come down the straight for the second time, and here they come. It's still Jamie Devine, not wearing that distinctive pink helmet of his. He's got his white helmet on. Not what's happened to the pink helmet. Maybe he's fed up with getting so much stick over it. Still Emmett O'Grady, the black helmet, in second place. The scrap is very much on for third place. Olsen is there as well, and that could be Tommy Dale alongside him. The two team men riding for Bob Farnham, and Ralph Turco now has decided, hey, I might be over 25. In fact, I'm 33. And I run a shop in London called SBK, motorcycle tuning and repair shop, just off the City Road in London. And said Ralph, freshly a new father, where he has a son Enzo. Now he's got a new young daughter, and what a family get-together it is when these guys come racing, I can tell you. But it is, and Turco, remember Turkey is the man that leads the TDG Cup at the moment with 105 points in front of Duncan Knox, number 22. There's Olsen. Duncan Knox back there in that group, and Duncan's been chasing Ralph right throughout the year, along with Alistair Haynes. And Alistair, of course, on the 71 machine. We're on board again with Emmett O'Grady. Look at these shots. This is what it's all about, and it really is getting tight out there. Whoa, and Jamie Devine defending that position from Emmett O'Grady, the Irish lad. It's ridden most of these circuits for the first time this year. And considering he's not a regular to the tracks here in the UK, I think he's done remarkably well. Only that big DNF at Brands really put him out, carrying the onboard camera. And on the Saturday, he crashed and injured his shoulder. But he's back, fully fit. Did to Cadwell Park, because Cadwell Park was the round before this one. It wasn't a televised round. So, unfortunately, we weren't able to bring you any action from Cadwell, but we do apologise about that. But it was a good day for everybody. It's Miller that now leads. Well, this young man has found the setup at last on this bike. He's found his way around the tracks, and young Ben Miller, number 78, really is a threat. Well, I say a threat, not that much of a threat, because he's left it a little bit late in the day to make that threat. He doesn't really, or really isn't going to put Jamie Devine, I think, under pressure, unless he can win all the next races and hope that Jamie doesn't finish a few of them. But I have to say, that's pretty unlikely of Jamie Devine. He's a fairly consistent rider. His dad does all the spannering for him. Gets all the bike feckled and sorted out ready for each race. Does a wonderful job, his dad. Aircraft fitter, I believe. And Jamie Devine goes back into the lead in front of Ben Miller. And Duncan Knox is just back from that group as well, number 22. Look out for Paul Hughes, 33, another one of the TDG Cup runners. And, of course, Ricky, the chubby Chadwick, as they so fondly call him now, apparently. That's not coming from me, Ricky. That's what they told me. But he's a wonderful bloke, 43 years of age, a real veteran racer, and a real emissary of the sport of motorcycle racing. So it looks to me like Miller's back in the lead. Yes, it is. And Devine back in the second. And Ralph Turco, well, he really is thinking about this. The man from Brazil. Where he goes next year, no one knows, least of all him at the moment. I'm sure he'd love to be on the BSB roster for either the Superstock 600 or something like that. But, of course, as the old saying goes, it's all down to budget, all down to sponsors. If you ain't got them, you ain't going racing at higher levels. And I'm sure Ralph, if he can't get a place on the BSB grid, he'll be back here with Triumphs for another year. Started his racing on 400, believe it or not, and that was only just a few years ago. So he's a relatively newcomer to racing here in the UK, and he's still already showing that he's got what it takes to be a front runner. It's Ben Miller in the lead, 78 bike, looking good at the moment is Miller. From Royston in Hertfordshire, sponsored by Printworks. Royston in Hertfordshire, right next door to Hertford, in between Harlow and Hertfordshire. I know the area well, it's where I went to school in Hertford. So Royston's a pretty familiar sight to me. So it changed a bit over the years since I was last there. But back on board again with Emmett O'Grady. Where is he now? Down in 4th place, is it? And Emmett, well, as I said, no, he's at 5th place for Emmett. Relatively newcomer to the racing scene here in the UK for 2009. And I'm sure Emmett's going to be a lad that we're going to see more of in the future. Like him, a young character. Right into those S's. That's it, high side country, as Tony Scott said. When you come out of there, you put the hammer down, as they say, and that back end can come round and whoops you up and over and onto the banking. Up the start, finish straight, start another lap. It's still Miller that leads. Laturco there in 3rd place. So distinctive, Ralph. As I said with that, he's a big fan of Valentino Rossi and also was a big fan of Ayrton Senna. Being a Brazilian, I'm not at all surprised. So the late, great Formula 1 driver, Ayrton Senna. And there's Pablo Montoya, and he's Brazilian now. I'm trying to think about a recent Formula 1 driver who's Brazilian. I'm sure there's lots of them, but not being a Formula 1 addict, so to speak, I'm not too familiar in that area. But however, it is the 78 bike that still leads. Miller really has found his way around this bike. Jamie Devine really won't care that much, I would have thought, because the points advantage he has over the man that's chasing him really isn't going to make a lot of difference if it finishes like this at the end of the race. On board again with Emmett O'Grady. Look at these. Gives you a good idea what it's like to go around this track, doesn't it? Ralph Laturco, 385 points in front of Duncan Knox at 280. And then Alistair Haynes, 202. Alongside Ricky Chadwick, both sharing that 3rd position on 202 points. But in the old Michelin Cup, or I should say the young Michelin Cup, Jamie Devine with 280, and that's 60 points in front of Alex Holson, who's in that race somewhere, or was. Ben Miller's there, of course, he leads 212, so when you think about it, 68 points of difference between them, 25 points for a race win. So Devine doesn't really have to panic. Lance Kerry out with a broken wrist. Reese Rothwell out there as well, the GoSpike.com sponsored rider. And then, of course, Stephanie Wadlow. She's on 154 points in front of Emmett O'Grady on 146. So Emmett leads Stephanie at the moment. Ben Carter, haven't seen much of him. Tommy Dell back in the mix once again, along with Curtis Rothwell. That's the brother, of course, of Reese. But it is getting very tight out there. Ralph is having a look. Just goes to show that the TDG Cup runners, that's the over 25 riders, can mix it with the young gun Michelin guys. They're all up to the age of 24. Here they come again, and it's still Miller that leads it. And Jamie Devine having a look, and there is the 74 bike of Tommy Dale, the young 16-year-old lad. As I said, riding out of the Bob Farman tuning setup. Comes from Romford in Essex, and that's a young man again, I think, with a future. And there is our man, number 90, that's Ricky Chadwick. He has the most helpful set of mechanics in the paddock. They help everybody. Well, we're going to take a quick break to get a cup of tea. We'll be back for the rest of this race right after this break.